Hello, and welcome back to Sid Meier's Civilization 5. Today, we're going to be talking about the technology tree. Now, this is just an empire that I have. I'm in the future era right now. My units aren't particularly upgraded, but I'm still in the future era. Now, the technology tree is what you use to get new technology. Duh. So, we start here in the ancient era, then we go to the classical era, then the medieval era, then the Renaissance, the industrial era, the modern era, and finally the future era. And the last technology is future tech. So what it does is, it just repeats over and over and over, and it increases your score every time it's researched. So if I go over here to diplomacy, I've got a score of 1,856, and if I hover over that, I get a breakdown. And at the bottom of that list it says 30 from future technology. So I've gotten 30 points from that. Okay? So that's that. So let's go over the technology tree. Also, let's go over this right here, 800. I'm getting 800 research per turn. So if I go into the technology tree, you might notice it says cost 9,500 science. So I get every time I accumulate 9,500 science, I get a new tech. I get future tech. For example, this is 8,637, so once I accumulate it, I will have researched nanotechnology, and these little lines move up to the next one, to future technology. But in order to get future technology, I also need globalization and nuclear fusion. So, if I'm getting 800 per turn, it says 750 from cities and 50 from city-states. That's because I have a social policy that does that. But mostly it's from cities. So, let's go into how you should play the technology tree to your advantage. So it depends on what kind of victory you want to win. If you want to win a scientific victory, you're going to want to research things that help you get ahead in science. Now, I'm going to say that in most civilizations, it's important to get a head start at the beginning. So let's say, for example, that we're going for a domination victory, and we're going to try to go early in the game. First, we're going to try to go to mining, because mining allows you to construct a mine. Mines are an improvement that give you more production. There's a mine right there. And if I go into the yield icons, it's giving me 3 production right now. So mines give me a lot more production. That's 3, and this hill gives me 2 production and 2 gold. Those 2 gold is because I'm also getting gold from the trading post that's on there. So, we're going to want a lot of production if you're going to want to go for a domination victory, because you're going to want to be able to crank out a lot of units. That'll also give you access to things like the spearmen. Spearmen are very important in early game. You also have ironworking, which is the swordsman. Swordsman is a very strong unit in the classical era, and it's used a lot in the medieval era. You don't see a lot of long swordsmen, which is its upgrade. Now, another thing about ironworking is ironworking reveals iron on the map. So, iron is very important to build the strong units, the swordsman, and the catapult. Now, remember how I said we should go for mining first? I'm not saying that that's the only thing we should do. Archery is also very important for a military because of obvious reasons. You get the archer. Also, animal husbandry gets you the chariot archer, which is a faster archer. But the thing is, with the chariot archer, if you move into a forest tile, if I have 4 moves left and I move into that, it doesn't matter that I still have 4 moves left because I'm stopped dead. Because, I don't know if you know, it sucks to be in a chariot in the forest. So, oopsies, wrong button. So I'm going to go over to the tech tree. But if we're going for something like scientific, we're going to want the Great Library, which gives you 1 free technology, and you can use that to launch yourself into the classical era with something like philosophy, or ironworking, or mathematics, things like that. You're also going to want, eventually your goal is going to be to get to education, because education is the most important technology to a scientific victory. Because that allows you to build a university, which gives you +2 science from jungle tiles, and it gives you 33% science in your city. So if your city is producing 100 science, which I know is a lot, then now you're making 130 just for building one building. Oxford University is also it's a national wonder, meaning that everyone in the world can build one and only one, but you need to have a university in all the cities. So it gives you one free technology and science plus 3 empire-wide. Notre Dame is a very good wonder because it gives you happiness plus 10. The Porcelain Tower gives you a great scientist, and you get more science from research agreements, which is nice. And the big whammy, the conversion of production to research. So, let's go into Washington right here, and see how I'm making 43 production per turn and 147 science. If I change this production to research, now I'm still making the same production, but it's being converted into science. So it converts 25 of it into science. So just for reference, 157.6 science to, huh? Oh, 157 to 147. So that's a lot of stuff. Oh, where am I attacking? Am I at war with you? Oh, no, probably was. How about you? Oh, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, so we're going back into the technology tree. Technology tree. So, just a couple of things to note. These little star thingies give you stuff. For example, give you stuff empire-wide. So food from farm increased by 1 with access to fresh water. Blah de blah de blah. Allows bridges over rivers. That's actually extremely helpful. And research agreements, that's helpful if you're going to do a scientific victory. So what you might want to do is you might want to get the Great Library in one of your cities, spend a lot of time building the Great Library, which is a wonder, so only one can be built in the world. So if someone beats you to it, sucks to suck. So you get a free technology, you research philosophy, and now you can have research agreements with people, and you can trade science. They'll get science, and you'll get science, but you'll get science too, which is nice. Another thing that I just want to note is that you want your special units. Right now, I'm America. America. I'm Washington, so my special unit is the Minuteman. I also have the B-17. Yes, B-17 right here. So if you think those are going to help you a lot, I would go for it. Do something called beelining. Beelining is when you haven't researched theology, but you've researched gunpowder already. You're working your way up only one part of the technology tree, which is possible in some situations. So I could research gunpowder before I know how to make pottery, because I will just keep going mining masonry because it's not necessary. I can just go straight from metal casting to steel. Oh, Oh, wait, never mind. I lied. Oh, yeah, you could. You just need animal husbandry, the wheel, and then mathematics so you can get engineering. And so you can get physics, and then you can get gunpowder. Nonetheless, it's the same idea. You're going to want to beeline. Remember, I don't think that you should beeline too far ahead, because then you're kind of stuck with, like, petty technologies that you don't really... They're just a pain in the butt to get around, and I recommend doing it pretty evenly. Unless it's beneficial. For example, iron is very important to get. I would reveal iron as soon as possible. Horses are not, and plus it's animal husbandry, so that's easy. Just a couple of others to note. Banking is important, because the bank gives you a lot of extra gold, and it also gives you the Forbidden Palace. Now, that gives you minus 10% unhappiness. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is actually very important if you have a large empire. So you're going to want to build that. Remember, everyone always wants it. The computer is designed to go for the good technologies. Or the good wonders. So, education is important. Banking is important. I also very much like navigation because that allows you to build the frigate. Note it requires 1 iron, if you can see that right about there. Requires 1 iron. But it's extremely powerful, and you can just use it to rule the seas. And navigation leads to the scientific theory, which allows you to build the public school, which gives you a lot of extra science, but it requires a university. moving forward, you're getting things. Notice things like this. That can actually be really helpful. Faster embarked movement. Um, let's see. You don't get them later. Oh, reveals the entire map. So I wouldn't be waiting for that because it's the end of the modern era. But a lot of things in like the Renaissance era, you get a lot of these stars like trading post gold yield improved by 1, camp gold improved by 1, customs house gold improved by 1, manufacturing production yield, quarry production, mine production, things like that. It's really nice. You get lots of food from fertilizer, production from chemistry, and money from economics, and oh, compass. Something I'd like to note, optics is very important. It allows land units to embark and cross water tiles. So, let's say I've got this anti-aircraft gun. It's a land unit. So what I can do is I can right-click and hold. I can embark it onto this tile. And now it's a boat. Now keep in mind that if a land unit is embarked, let's say I'm at war with Darius of Persia, which he's about to do because he is so mad that I have Atlanta right now, and I've played this file before, and he's just beaten the crap out of me every single time. Anyway, let's say he's at war with me, and let's say that's a battleship instead of an anti-tank gun. What he can do is he can just drive in and take that, just destroy it without me having any defense. Note, that is different for Askia of Songhai. His passive benefit is that your units can defend on water. So, I'm pretty sure that's about it for all the important parts of the technology tree. Important parts for military are rifling. Riflemen are very, very important in the early industrial. In fact, they're used pretty much throughout the industrial era, even though you get infantry later. Most people go. There's very little building of musketmen. It mostly goes from longswordsmen to riflemen very quickly. People don't use longswordsmen a lot. Another thing is nuclear fusion. You get the A-bomb, so you can nuke people. And remember, you need to build the Manhattan Project. So that's like a production. That's like a building. So it allows your cities to build atomic bombs and nuclear missiles. It also reveals uranium on the map. I don't think there's any uranium around here. Oh, yep, there it is. Uranium right near Boston. I've got 4 uranium from that. So I've got strategic resources. I have 6 total uranium and 5 is used. And resources. Oil is semi-important. Coal is not very important. Horses are not very important. Aluminum's pretty important. Iron is extremely important. I'd say that's the most important strategic resource of the game. Anything else in the tech tree that I missed? The Apollo program. That's just like the Manhattan Project. You need to build it in the city to be able to build spaceship parts. And that's the last thing that I'm going to go over, which is in order to win a scientific victory, you need to build and launch a spaceship to Alpha Centauri, which actually plants the seed for the sequel to the game, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. So, first you need to build the Apollo program, and you also have to research robotics, satellites, particle physics, and nanotechnology. So, if you're going for a scientific victory, you don't need atomic theory, nuclear fission, lasers, stealth, or advanced ballistics or nuclear fusion, or any of this crap. So, really, by the time, if you're going for a scientific victory, you can pretty much beeline right along here. So that once you research these, you can have, you can build the SS booster, the cockpit, the engine, and the stasis chamber. So, you need 3 boosters. So you build 3 boosters, 1 cockpit, 1 engine, and 1 stasis chamber, and then you go over to your capital. Oh crap. Uh-oh. Go back over there. Sorry about that. Go back over here. You might be able to see right here, there's like a spaceship factory. So that's the cockpit right there. I think I can still, yeah, I can still build the booster, the engine, and the stasis chamber. I can build those in any cities, and I can ship them to Washington, D.C., and assemble them, and once I assemble the last part, then the spaceship launches up into the sky, and you win, and everyone hates you because you just won. And that made them extremely sad. So, this has been a technology tree uh, technology tree video, how to play the technology tree to your advantage. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more Spuntivision Civilization 5 game improving videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.